Hey there, this is Clint Baker from Hillbilly Hippie Honeybees. Welcome back. So yesterday, David and I drove around looking at 3 new locations to expand our bees. And so we got to talking about some things that maybe you'd be interested in. Sometimes we hear from folks that want to keep bees. Well, I don't have any land. I don't have enough land to put bees on. Or, I'd like to expand to a second yard, but I don't own any property. Maybe you're just establishing your first bee yard and you don't know what to look for. Well, we're going to cover all those things. There's going to be 9 tips in here about what locations to look for, what to look for in a good location. There's also going to be where do you look at, and how do you go about asking other folks about maybe using their land, right? We're also going to give you some tips on how to protect yourself and your investment whenever you are possibly using other people's land. And then we're also going to talk to you about how we seal the deal with folks and getting them involved in this particular adventure. So stick around all the way to the end so that you can learn all the different tips and tricks on what we do when we're looking for a bee yard. We are expanding up to about 200 hives or so this next year, and so right now we are looking. So also it's kind of funny, we got lost, my fault, and disclaimer there. Another reason why I don't drive, but don't trust Google. Anyway, please, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the bottom, and we'll get back with you and answer them. All right, so one of the things you need to be looking at and looking for this time of the year is new bee yard opportunities. And David and I are out on an adventure this morning. So we were literally supposed to go, what, maybe,
I don't know, maybe a mile and a half
from his house. We ended up 30 minutes away from his house, so don't ever trust Google. But we have found a lot of beautiful land, but that brings us to one of the things you should be doing whenever you are looking for a bee yard is just get out and drive around and look. Yeah. Maybe do a cold stop. If you see somebody's land that you think that looks great, go knock on their door and talk to them and ask them, hey, would you mind if we put bees on your yard?
And don't go empty-handed. Take them a jar of honey or whatever and say, hey, well, if they say no, just hand them the honey anyway and say, hey, if you ever, want to have bees put on there, because I'll tell you, just that honey being on the table will get you a long way.
Looky there.
Yeah, we got turkey this morning.
Turkey. Bunch of turkey right there. Yeah, right beside the road. That's and you get to see cool things like that when you're out driving around. So, but beautiful country out here where we're at. But yeah, just look for good locations when you're out here. So some of the things you want to look for is what do you think's important in a location?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Having a good driver.
That's right, because remember, I'm the princess.
No, a place. You want to get a place where you can, get into and access ability is easy. You don't want to look at the side of a hillside and say, well, that'd be a good place to put it. You want to be able to drive your vehicle up to it.
Yes, that's very important, especially the older you get.
Yes. And what about you, Clint? Do you have any?
Oh, yes. So, just some different things you want to look for. One, you do want to look for something that the morning sun will hit to wake them up and get them going, depending on the area. And of course, you want to look for a good place that might have a natural wind break to be able to break some of that cold winter wind from them. You also want to be looking for vegetation and that type of thing. So what type of trees are around, what types of shrubs, what type of flowers, those types of things. You want agricultural type stuff. You definitely want to make sure that they have a year-round supply, because we've made that mistake in the past with with one of the yards where it looked really good one part of the year, but there's towards this time of the year it didn't have a lot of vegetation and agriculture for the bees, and so we'd have to feed them a lot. So hopefully we've remedied that. But so why would you be looking for a new bee yard?
Well, you're expanding your apiary.
You're expanding, you're growing out of it. Maybe you do want to grow your operation. Lots of different reasons why you may want to do it. Maybe you're just tired of the area you're in. Maybe you're in the city and you want a little bit more diversity in your honey, whatever it might be. But and when to look. This time of the year is a good time a year to really start planning for your what you're going to do next year, and you're expanding your operation.
Another thing you want to kind of look for is you know, whenever you're talking to the landowner, kind of get an idea of whether they're going to be there to kind of watch it. You know, we have been known, well, to have people steal hives and that kind of thing. But there's ways you can remedy that too. You can, you know, put up cameras and that kind of thing. But
yeah, we've been pretty blessed. I think that most of the landowners that we've had so far, they have either been beekeepers in the past, or their grandpa's been a beekeeper, their dad or whatever, and they're really interested in it. So they do a good job of helping us watch over them as well. And just like that Bailey yard that Junior is on his property, he goes out and sings to them and dances with them and plays music for them and all that good stuff. So they're kind of spoiled.
He wasn't even partying when he did that.
Ask around. You know, a lot of times, you know, folks, you just ask, hey, how many acres you have, or would you be interested? A lot of times they're pretty open to having you come out and set up hives on them.
Keep your ears open whenever you're selling your honey at like festivals and stuff. We've had a lot of people come up and you know, when we're selling honey, they'll buy our honey and say, hey, I've got a piece of land somewhere, you know, and you know, they'll tell you that you know, they'd like to have bees on there.
Talk to your friends and family, you know, just ask. They may not want them, but they may know somebody who wants them, and we've come across people that way before. So, and also you want to keep it within your driving radius. So right now we're trying to keep it within a certain radius of both of our homes. So, you know, we both still work for a living, so we want to keep it within a certain driving radius, so that if we got an hour or so after our regular jobs, we can just run out and check a yard real quick. You know, so, you know, think about that. Think about why you're doing it. Think about where you want to put it. Think about all those different things before you start getting out there and looking around. So, but you will meet a lot of cool people, and you will see a lot of cool countryside if you get out and just drive around and look. And you'd be surprised the amount of people that are willing and wanting bees on their yard, because I think everybody understands the importance of it, and I think that everybody is up to wanting them on there. Another thing you can do is explain to them how they can benefit from having bees on their land. And I'm not just talking the pollination side of it. You can also, I know here in the state of West Virginia, you know, a colony of bees, they can now register anything over, is it over an acre land? They can register as a farm. And then they can get the farm tax benefits and grants and things of that nature. So that's another way to explain it to them and help them with that as well. But we give them about 10% of the honey that we pull off of their place. Most folks just want enough to keep them through the year. So, you know, however you want to work that too. Things to seal the deal as far as maybe being able to get some property for you to put your bees on is, bless you.
Thank you.
Is the percentage of honey. Yeah, there's some deer. We're seeing all kinds of wildlife this morning. But is to offer them the honey, offer to teach them. You know, they may be wanting to learn about bees, and then, you know, you can teach them, and then that's a good way of being able to trade for the land. We don't pay money for the land. We pay in barter and trade, if you will, right? So one important thing you want to do when you're talking to the landowner is explain to them that, you know, you're going to have to come in sometimes at night, maybe to move them or bring new ones in. You also want to explain to them that, you know, that it may be certain times of the day that you need to come in and treat them or inspect them or do whatever you need to do with them, feed them. But make sure that that's not a problem, because, you know, you don't want to show up at 11 o'clock at night with a new colony that you've done a cutout for, or a swarm, or just moving bees around, and then them get all mad at you because you were there that late. So those are just a few things that you want to consider talking to them about whenever you are setting up to do this.
And also, you know, if you're wanting to keep your bees there for a while, make sure that it's okay. You know, the longevity of the time you want them there is okay with them. You also don't want to, you know, if they decide, hey, you know, they got to go, not because they don't want them to go, but you may have some neighbors, they may have some neighbors that have got a pool, or, you know, they do a lot of stuff outside and they get bothered by them. You just may have to, you know, grin it and bear it, and you know, move them out of there. But so also, yeah, that's another thing. The area in which there are a bunch of, you know, people, I guess, make sure that they're okay.
So that leads us into probably the most important thing, and that's having a contract. It doesn't matter whether it's family, friends, whether it is somebody you just met. Get a land contract for your bee yard. It only covers you, and it only covers them. A lot of what we've talked about, we cover in that. We cover it, that they have to give us a certain amount of time to be able to move the bees, like 30 days, let's say. And we've had to do that. We just had a customer who sold their land, and we had to move them out. And so in our contract, it says that we have to have X amount of time to be able to move them out. And of course, the contract that we have, I think we just pulled it offline, didn't we? And then we just rewrote it. Yeah, we just tweaked it, rewrote it for us, and then that's the one we use. So it, you know, just explain to your friends and family that, hey, this isn't anything that bad or mean. We just want to cover you. We want to cover us. Most state laws cover it, but this day and age, you can never be too careful or too safe. So again, look at a contract that you can possibly have. You know, if you've got an attorney friend, have them look at it and see if it covers everything. So those are just a few things that we are looking for when we're out here looking for a new area to put a bee yard in, and the things that we do to cover us and keep our operations safe and keep us personally safe. So, you know, we've always seen some times that this can get a little hairy, and those contracts will keep that from happening. So
I'd be up here.
Yeah.
This is exactly where I'd be.
Most definitely.
You have got a beautiful place here.
I didn't realize this was that close.
Called the coyote blind.
Okay.
Right here in the winter times they'll bring like dead deer's roadkill
Right.
and stake it out, and the coyotes come up and they got night vision scopes, whatever, and they killed 18 one fall here.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
But I thought I'd mess with them with that.
That is cool.
That's where that started.
I've heard them barking at nighttime over this way.